So your boss just asked you to stay late. Again, your coworker needs just one tiny favor. Your client wants to add one more thing to the project. And you're about to say the word that's destroying your career faster than you realize. Yes, sure, no problem. They told you that saying yes all the time is the key to success. They said it shows you're a team player and that it proves your dedication. But what if I told you that saying yes all the time and being too available can make people not respect you and your time? My name is Myles and I'm an international management consultant and a personal growth mentor. And trust me, I didn't learn how to say no in a textbook. I learned it the hard way through exhaustion, missed opportunities, and years of overcommitting. But once I flipped the script, everything changed. And today I'm going to show you how to do the same without guilt. Stay with me till the end because I'm going to show you exactly how saying yes all the time is secretly making you less valuable at work, and the 4 psychological tricks that will make people respect your time more and you more when you start saying no. Let's dive in. Here's what nobody tells you about being the yes person at work. You think you're being helpful, but you're actually training people to disrespect your time. You think you're being reliable, but you're becoming the office dumping ground. You think you're securing your job, but you're making yourself replaceable. And the worst part is the more available you make yourself, the less people value what you do. See, I learned this the hard way after saying yes to everything for 2 years straight, until I discovered these 4 strategies that completely flipped how people saw me at work. Now, but why do we struggle to say no? Let's get honest. It's not because we don't know the words. It's hard because we fear what these words might cost us. We're afraid of conflict. What if they get upset? We're afraid of being disliked. Will I come across as lazy, selfish, unhelpful, uncooperative? We're worried about our job security. Would they stop relying on me? There's also imposter syndrome. What if they realize I can't handle it all? And then there's also cultural or family background. You may be coming from a culture or family background where saying no directly is considered disrespectful. But here's the reality check. The highest performers at every organization have one thing in common. They protect their time like it's their most valuable asset, because it is. So in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to be showing you why your brain literally is wired to say yes, even when it's destroying you. Then we'll talk about the exact moments when saying no becomes not just acceptable, but necessary. I'm also going to be giving you word-for-word scripts that make saying no feel collaborative, not confrontational. And I'll talk about the biggest mistake that 90% of people make when they're finally trying to set boundaries. But first, let me ask you something. Have you ever said yes to something at work and immediately felt that pain in your stomach? That, oh no, what did I just agree to? That feeling. So drop a yes in the comments if this has happened to you in the last month, and you can share what it's about, okay? So here's why saying no feels so scary. See, our brains have a built-in social survival system. Thousands of years ago, being rejected by a group meant death. So our brains treat every potential no like a life or death situation. But here's the plot twist. In the modern workplace, saying yes to everything is what actually puts your career in danger. It makes you feel overwhelmed, resentful, and replaceable. Real peace comes from saying yes with integrity and saying no with maturity. Studies show that people who can't set boundaries at work are 67% more likely to experience burnout, 3 times more likely to miss deadlines on important projects, and significantly less likely to get promoted. Why? Because leadership isn't about doing everything, it's about doing the right things. Now, the people getting promoted aren't the ones, staying late every night. They're the ones who know what to say no to. So when exactly should you say no? Here are the non-negotiable moments that you should say no. Now, the first one is when your plate is already full. If another task would sink your deadlines, that's a hard no. Quality over quantity, always. Now, number 2 is when it's actually not your job. So we all know that person who somehow always has emergencies, that become your problem. Being able to spot the difference between a genuine crisis and manufactured urgency is a crucial skill. Now, number 3 is when saying yes would compromise your core work. You see, your reputation is built on your primary responsibilities, not your side quests. Number 4 is when you're not the best person for the job. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is to redirect people to someone who can actually help them. Now, here's the key insight. Boundaries aren't walls, they are filters. They keep you from drowning in other people's chaos, so you can focus on what actually moves your career forward. Let's talk about the 4 power strategies for saying no the right way. So strategy number 1 is what I call the collaborative alternative. So instead of just saying, I can't do this, become a problem-solving partner. And here's what this sounds like. You can say something like, see, I can't take this on with my current workload, but let's explore other options together. Have you considered reaching out to Susan from the marketing team? She has experience with this type of project. Now, see what happened there? You acknowledged the requests, you clearly stated your boundary, and then you actively helped to find a solution. You're not being difficult, you're being helpful in a different way. Now, strategy number 2 is called the timeline negotiation. When the request itself is good, but the timing is impossible, negotiate the timeline. You could say something like, I can absolutely help with this, but based on my current commitments, I could start this in, let's say, a week. Would that timeline work for you? Now, this shows that you actually want to help. You're just being realistic about when you can deliver quality work. Now, strategy number 3 is what we call the priority realignment. This is especially powerful with your boss. Help them understand trade-offs. So you're already working on something that's top priority, and then your boss dumps something else on you and demands that you do it now. You could say something like, I'm currently focused on the quarterly report that's due on Friday. Should we reprioritize, or would you prefer I complete this first? So you're not saying no, you're asking them to help you manage priorities effectively. This actually makes you look more organized and strategic. Now, strategy number 4 is the resource-based response, and this is important when you genuinely don't have the right skills or the resources. Now, in situations like this, you could say something like, I don't have the expertise to do this justice. Let me connect you with Precious from IT, who specializes in database management. Now, again, you're not just declining, you're ensuring that they get the best possible outcome. Now, none of these feel like rejections, especially if you use the right, non-verbal communication. They feel like partnerships. Now, let's get practical. Let me give you 3 real-world examples. Now, scenario 1, you're saying no to a colleague who always passes the buck. Now, don't go, yeah, I'll handle it again. Rather say, hey, I've noticed that I've taken this task on, the last 3 times. I'm at full capacity right now, and I think it's fair we rotate responsibilities this time. Let's figure out a plan that works for both of us. Now, why this works is that it calls out the pattern without being confrontational, and it sort of rebalances responsibility. So you're not just saying no, you're saying it's time for fairness. Now, scenario number 2 is saying no to your boss who keeps adding tasks without removing any. Don't say, okay, I'll squeeze it in somehow. You say, I want to deliver excellent results. Right now, I'm managing 3 high impact projects. If this new task is urgent, which one should I pause or delegate so I can prioritize it properly? Now, why this works is you frame the no as a focus on quality, not avoidance. And, with subtlety, you show that leadership includes managing workload smartly. Now, scenario number 3 is saying no to a late night call from a client or a manager. You can say something like, I saw your message and flagged it for the first thing in the morning. I'm offline after hours to recharge and maintain peak performance, but I'll jump on this first thing tomorrow morning. Sounds good? Now, you know why this works? You set a clear professional boundary and you've reframed self-care as something essential for doing your best work. You see the difference? You're not just making excuses, you're being professional and strategic. Every scenario that we've looked at, you're not just saying no, you're being more professional than the person making the request. Now, I know that some of you are thinking, this all sounds great, but what if my boss is completely unreasonable? What if they don't care about professional boundaries and just want what they want? Let's be real. Sometimes you're not dealing with reasonable people. Sometimes you're in a genuinely toxic environment where professional boundary setting gets you labeled as difficult or puts your job at risk. Now, here's your survival strategy for toxic workplaces. So start creating a paper trail. Email follow-ups after every verbal request. So something like, just to confirm our conversation, you've asked me to complete X, Y, and Z by tomorrow, in addition to the Johnson project due this week. Want to make sure I have the priorities right. Now, this does two things. It makes the unreasonable workload visible in writing, and it protects you if things go sideways. So sometimes you have to say yes to survive, but you can control how you say yes. So you can say something like, I'll prioritize this, but I want to set expectations. With my current workload, I can either deliver fast or perfect, but not both. Which do you prefer? Now, you're not saying no, but you're managing expectations and protecting your reputation. Now, here's the hard truth. If you have tried professional boundary setting and you're still being abused, exploited, or threatened for having a basic work-life balance, the problem isn't your communication skills. The problem is the environment. And no amount of perfect scripts will fix a fundamentally broken workplace culture. I'm going to be straight with you. Life is too short to spend 40 plus hours a week being miserable. If you are in a toxic environment that doesn't respond to professional boundaries, maybe you should start planning your exit. Update that resume, network, apply to places. Your mental health and career growth are worth more than staying in a job that's slowly destroying you. But here's the key. Even in toxic environments, practicing these boundary setting skills prepare you for better opportunities. Every time you advocate for yourself professionally, you're building confidence for your next role. Here's the truth bomb. Saying no doesn't make you difficult, it makes you disciplined. It doesn't make you selfish, it shows you value your energy. The most respected professionals aren't the ones who say yes to everything, they're the ones who protect the quality of their yes by knowing when to say no. Think about the people you respect most at work. Are they running around stressed, doing everyone else's work? Or are they focused, strategic and intentional about where they spend their time? That's your answer. So here's your challenge for this week. Pick one moment, just one, where you would normally say yes out of habit and practice one of these strategies instead. Maybe it's that co-worker who always needs 5 minutes, that turns into 1 hour. Maybe it's staying late when you know it won't actually help. Maybe it's taking on a project that is clearly outside your role. Whatever it is, practice saying no with clarity and not guilt. And here's what's going to happen. People are going to start respecting your boundaries because you respect them first. Now remember, boundaries aren't selfish, they're strategic. And if you feel like you're stuck in the wrong career and want to make a successful career transition, then you have to watch this next video where I talk about how to make a successful career transition. Please like this video, leave a comment and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.